Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen. This is Mujeebkazi and you're watching Washington Roundtable on VOK TV. We are going to talk about Kashmiris on ground and around the globe facing challenges after August 5th of 2019. We had noticed initially the activism around the globe by the diaspora was pretty impactful and vibrant, but eventually it phased off. Not 100%, but to some degree, where we noticed that the vibes, activism, the noise, and the voices for the people of Kashmir is not making a difference on the ground as impactful as it ought to be. To discuss that, we have our guest with us, Mufti Shaukat Saab, who have a close eye on the disparities that people of Kashmir are facing on the ground. So we will discuss that. Mufti Saab, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me today.
My pleasure. And please, as I have alluded to the problem that people of Kashmir are facing on the ground in my initial statement, what is your take? Is my observation is correct that the activism and the noise and the voice for people of Kashmir have somewhat subdued after certain period of time since 2019?
Yes, obviously it has gone down inside Kashmir and also in the diaspora. So the reasons, in my opinion, are many. So let's go back to August. What happened on August 5, 2019? It was it was the height of the tourist season. There were a lot of tourists there, and also I think the Amarnath Yatra had also started, and they suddenly decided on this without making any announcements. But they did it in a subtle way. So they made some leaks, deliberate leaks, like one of the orders that came in the newspapers. It was a leak, so not officially released. And I think it was an official leak that security forces should buy rations for the next 6 months. And then they issued a direction to everybody to leave Kashmir within one day. So the tourists were forced to leave, and anybody who was not from Kashmir, was forced to leave because they created a hype, a fear psychosis that something terrible was going to happen. So what the people feared at that time was that there was going to be a war. So they also did some panic buying and went indoors. So once the curfew started, so everybody was locked inside home. There was tremendous deployment of forces. And then came the announcement that they were planning to remove, abrogate Article 370. But the fear had already set in the people's minds. And there was heavy deployment of forces. I think that fear has lingered on. And also there they have taken steps after abrogation of Article 370, uh, which have further strengthened that feeling of fear and persecution. For example, all the laws that were in force at that time were repealed. And as you know, Jammu and Srinagar was changed into a union territory, and Ladakh was changed into a union territory. The effect of that was that Jammu and Kashmir, as a union territory, came directly under central rule. So the center, extended new laws. It's a long list of laws, maybe 100 or 150 laws by one stroke of pen. They were they were extended to the now the Union Territory of Kashmir, and and among those laws were some laws which can be which were not friendly to the people, which were black laws, which were used against journalists, activists. And one of them was unlawful activities, unlawful terrorist activities prevention act, uh, and UAPA. It's a very stringent law and has very few protections. Then there was Public Safety Act was also, it was retained, it was extended. Under that law, the people could be detained for 2 years without a trial or without seeing a judge. And also, the Kashmir has been declared as a disturbed area. The entire J&K state was declared as a disturbed area under the Disturbed Areas Act, which was extended, which was promulgated in 1990s, in the 90s. And where you have an area which is a disturbed area, you could extend AFSPA, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which gives the security forces, army, the right to detain a person, to kill him on suspicion of indulging in terrorist activities or activities prejudicial to the national security.
The,
So
the
and they arrested a lot of people on that night, during that night. Everybody, there was about thousands of people were arrested.
hmm.
Among them journalists, activists, anybody they could lay their hands on, and it created a state of terror in the state, and that has lingered to this day.
The that is what people of Kashmir are facing on ground. My,
Yes.
if you may please shed a light on what happened to the diaspora. They are free. They're living in a free world. Why they have gone uh, subdued?
Okay, so the diaspora unfortunately was also affected, because what goes on in Kashmir affects them psychologically and emotionally. They have
Hmm.
families, they have properties, and whatever is going on there, it affects them. Also, the India became overactive. They became overactive in going after diaspora now.
Even
Now,
outside of the country.
yes, yes. For example, a lot of people I know who try to go back to India, and they were citizens of the United States or Canada or other places. They were turned back. They were not given entry in India. So they
Hmm.
were turned back. I know of some people, maybe you also know of a few people who were turned back. And they were not allowed to go to meet their families there. Secondly, what has really put a chilling effect on the diaspora is that the government of India is now openly pursuing a policy of going after the diaspora through its assassination plots. They
Hmm.
sent assassins to Canada and killed a Sikh activist, Mr. Nijar.
Hmm.
They again sent assassins to New York to to target another Sikh activist, Mr. Pannu, but they were not successful in New York because the U.S. intelligence got the better of them. They came to know about the plot, and both in both cases, the evidence was so strong that in Canada, some people who have connections to the Indian intelligence agencies were charged. They were indicted, and same is the case in the United States. The person who was responsible was recently extradited to the United States to stand trial, and both of them have links to the Indian intelligence agencies. So this has caused a lot of fear and among the diaspora because it because of because they see that the Indian intelligence agencies are active in the Western countries, and they are targeting the diaspora like that. Also, in the recent elections in India, Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, he said it during a public he said it during an election rally that we will go after them and kill them in their homes. They have been doing this already in Pakistan, but that hasn't gotten a lot of international attention because I think the Pakistan did not raise it well. They showed weakness in raising that issue. But when they came to Canada, it was the Prime Minister himself, Justin Trudeau, who made the announcement that the killing of Mr. Nijar was the handiwork of Indian intelligence agencies, and they had evidence which they had shared with the United States and other Western countries.
Mufti Sahib, thank you very much for bringing the light to these very draconian laws that are impacting the lives of the people, not only inside Kashmir but outside on the diaspora, and keeping them basically making them shut their mouth, not to raise any voices. And I am troubled by this, by the notion that they have been doing this kind of assassination of Kashmiris inside Pakistan, and Pakistan have failed to raise voice, or maybe was party to the crime. Thank you very much for being in the show. I have to end it here, and until next time, take good care of yourself. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.